Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, Prof. Harold, for the nice introduction. We welcome everybody to the first session on the destination track. Let me start by welcoming the panelists to the session. Dr. Hashil Al-Mahrouqi, CEO of Umran. Mr. Haytham Al-Ghassani, the Director General of Tourism Promotion at the Ministry of Heritage and Tourism. Anit Spat, Der Touristic Deutschland Director for Africa and Middle East. And Wisal Al-Rashdi, partner of Hunna, a non-profit organization featuring Arab women in sport and adventure. Thank you all for joining us in today's sessions. Well, authenticity has been a recurring term in the last few days, and one of the defining factors for tourism in Oman. In today's session, we will be talking about redefining visitor experience. It's all about authenticity, and we will understand from our esteemed panelists how Oman perceive and act to ensure authenticity in a destination. And if you allow me, I would like to start with playing a video on Oman's experience, Authenticity Oman. Thank you very much. Let me start with you, Haytham. The ministry is the leading organization when it comes to tourism development and orchestrating the tourism industry within Oman, which one of the aim, I believe, is to ensure its authenticity. The marketing Oman as an authentic destination, several commentaries we have heard these days how the destination is authentic. My question is here, how the ministry is approaching authenticity to ensure destination-wise and product-wise. How do they ensure that?
Well, thank you, Doctor. A little brief about Oman. You know, Oman, it has a deep and a long history for thousands years ago. And when we talk about, for example, authenticity, we're talking about, for example, about the culture, about the heritage, that's what we have in Oman. We are talking about more than 3,400 registered historical sites in Oman, and more than 1,000 registered old villages in Oman, 5 World Heritage UNESCO sites in Oman. And so we are talking about very rich, as I said, deep history. And that was automatically reflected in our traditions, in our customs, in our languages, in our arts, in our gastronomy. So we as a ministry, or let's say, for example, the government itself, when we talk about, for example, Oman Vision 2040, it calls for economic diversity, but in the same time, it calls for preserving our Omani national identity and our authenticity and our heritage and culture. At the same time, we as a Ministry of Heritage and Tourism, through our Oman National Tourism Strategy 2040 as well, we have a full section there on that strategy calls for something we call it Oman experiences. Okay. And that experiences, we have 3 different categories of experiences. We have something called top experiences, and we will go into details about that. And we have something called signature experiences, which is supposed to be supervised by the government, but it has to be implemented through the private sector in Oman. And the 3rd category, we have something called brand experiences. Talking about the top experiences, which is supposed to be supervised, managed, and operated by the government. Okay. We have 8 also categories within that top experiences. We are talking about the Grand Tour, which is supposed to focus on the whole regions in Oman, starting from Musandam till Dhufar. And then we have the forts and castles experiences. And there in this experiences, we're supposed to focus and we're supposed to highlight and to showcase what we have as a country in terms of experiences related to the forts and castles there in Oman. We as a ministry, we already operated, or the forts and castles is operated by the local communities. Yeah. Already 16 of those forts and castles managed by the local community. Okay. And some of them it is already announced for investment by the private sector to manage them. And we normally seeking for the sustainability, and we are trying to, as I said, tender it and give it for the local communities to run it. Other experiences, we're talking about the old villages. I mentioned earlier that we have more than 1,000. Some of them is already developed. Some of them is already managed by the local communities. One of them in the last 2 years was it was announced by the UNWTO, was one of the winning villages. Third, we have also the coastline of Oman. We are trying to focus on and to promote the experiences of the coastline, which is related to the dhows, to the seaside there in Oman. So what we are trying to mix between the authenticity, between the heritage and culture, and also about the nature and the diversity what we have in Oman. Beside that, we have another experiences which is related to the frankincense, and what I remember now, the souks, also the old souks. So all of them, they are actually representing the authenticity in Oman. That's why the ministry is trying to focus on that and trying to promote that and to promote it in our marketing campaigns. Yes,
I can see how if I put it in one way or another, it's from the community to the community, and that's how you ensure authenticity. All of the experience you mentioned, it started from the community, from the local resources, and also you mentioned it's managed by the local community. Yes. So this is I think it's a key player in maintaining the authenticity there. Thank you very much, Haytham. Very interesting. Let me go to your main partner here, Umran Group. Dr. Hashil, we're lucky to have you here today. we know the importance of Umran as actualizing and mobilizing the vision the ministry put forward when it comes to tourism experiences. DMO, such as Umran, plays a major role in keeping and ensuring authenticity. Yet they are required to innovate and modernize the destination. Nobody said it's easy. How do you strike it?
Good morning, Doctor. Good morning, everyone. I think after Haytham, I left with no more words to add to this one. You finished it all for me, and you took the advantage of being the first one. But let me try to summarize how we are doing this. I will say in three folds: the hardware, the software, and sustainability. By saying that, and I will start by the hardware, we have to do the development, yes. But we also need to understand what we already have in the country in terms of what we do as a hardware when we do the development. The software is about what we have in the community. And we need to really embody that in whatever we do in the development, being the cuisine, and we have a very rich cuisine in Oman. Yeah. I always say this, I love food. You can tell from my size, that's why I start with food. The second one will be the folklore that we have. And I think ITB was a good showcase how we really bring these two together. Yes. If you notice from the opening ceremony, it was a different level, but it was the authenticity of what we have there that we really embody in what we ever do in the development. Then the rich history that we have. So we cannot ignore all of this by doing the development. The villages, my dear Haytham was referring to, we always respect when whatever we do as a development. And we really care about utilizing and capitalizing on what we already have when we do our development. What's really matter is the third fold. It's about sustainability. And when I say sustainability, it's not about putting solar panels on the roofs and forgetting about it. No. It's about the community in the first place. It's about the ecosystem. And it's about ensuring that this will be for this generation, the next, and the next, and the next. Some of the development that we did, we are leading the sustainability by ensuring the design, the construction, and then the operation. So we don't really try to only tick the box. I'll give an example. When we started doing the first hotel, 5-star hotel in Jabal Lakhdar, Alila Hotel, we certified that hotel for the first time at that level as a silver LEED certification. Then we came to Muscat and we did our beautiful convention center. And Engineer Said here is smiling that I mentioned his property. He's happy now, making him famous. And that was gold. Yes. Then we went and we developed the beautiful building for the telecommunication company, and that was platinum. So I was wondering, we went silver, gold, platinum, what's next? A sustainable city. And we bring it to be in the DNA now of Imran, and that's what we do. So yes, authenticity is about really empowering all of these three folds in whatever we're doing.
Excellent. Doctor, can I follow up with a question there? So you mentioned the city, the development, city of Iti, I would imagine you're referring to. How you bring the culture into the city and the tradition, Omani tradition into the city? And you mentioned it starts from the design to the implementation. How challenging and how resistant you are about that?
Few examples about when we did this one. And I remember the discussion we started early days when we was master planning. So because it's a waterfront, the master planner was like, you need to build very close to the water because that's where the valuable sort of real estate. Yes. It was clear for us because of the design principles that we really kept and we stand for. We said, no, that is for public. We only develop it and from the community back to the community. And that's your statement, Doctor. And exactly that's what we did. The school, they said, you need to keep it away so it's easier for whoever want to drop their kids. Yeah. And I was like, no, it's the neighborhood school. That's what we do. That's the sustainability. Used to walk, to cycle, and that's how we really embedded what is the sustainability in the design we do. And then about the construction as well. The cheapest option is not the sustainable option. Yes. Sometimes you need to invest in that, and we did. That site is a bit far, and that's why we did everything related to construction to be there to ensure that the omission that we add to this one is minimized.
Yeah.
And in the future, we will go before 2050 to the zero.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hashil. Very insightful. Anis, thank you for joining us today. I know you were very busy, and their touristic has been selling Oman since the early 19s. I think one of the oldest, if it's not the oldest, tour operators selling Oman. You saw Oman as a destination, how Oman evolved. Can you please share your view on how you and your clients see Oman as an authentic destination? And what's your client love most about Oman that maybe promote you to start thinking of investing in the country?
Thank you very much. Yeah, Der Touristic started selling Oman in '93, and I was actually checking on what we sold, and there was Al Bustan Palace was the first, and I think at those days one of the very few hotels which have been there. And since then Oman has developed tremendously, and on my opinion what Oman did brilliantly also compared to other destinations is that the tourism development was done very slowly and very safely. You know, there was lots of new hotels, but only one at a time. And I think this was the reason why the authenticity and the traditional, original Oman has been kept. And this is what our guests also very much value when coming to Oman. Looking at the video, I think it put together everything what Oman stands for. To me personally, it's also the Omani people. The hospitality is really outstanding. It's the warm welcome. You have the very friendly people. Also the traditional clothing is something the guests really appreciate. They see it's a modern country, but still it kept its traditions. And then obviously you have the beautiful landscape, you have the wonderful beaches, the mountains, you have Salalah, we call it the Caribbean of the East. Yeah. And Oman is a very safe country to travel. So we do have lots of self-drive tourists as well. They're traveling by themselves, they feel safe, they feel well taken care of. You have wonderful standard of hotels, especially in Muscat and Salalah, and Jabal Akhtar as well. Would be nice to have even more on the countryside, you know, to be able to do the combinations. And you have lovely architecture, may it be old, the historical ones, the forts, or also the new one, like the Royal Opera House. So Oman has a vast variety of product and is still very authentic. And I think this is what makes it very successful.
Thank you, Ines. It's very interesting because you have that perspective over almost 30 years of how the destination evolved, and you still think it's authentic. It's well known within the DMOs that how authentic is Oman, and it's the selling point, I would say. But beside that authenticity, do you think that tourists, when they come authenticity, they look at it from a destination perspective, that it's kind of blooms authenticity, or they're looking for their inside authenticity, searching through that destination?
I think one causes the other. The authenticity of the destination and the calmness also makes oneself, you know, realizing or becoming calm and thinking about, you know, your own life. And I think this is what Oman really does. If you're traveling, I was also driving through the countryside, through the desert, and it affects you, and it affects your inner self. And I think this is what is very special about Oman.
Interesting. And from this particular point, I will go to Wisal. Wisal, thank you for joining us today. Wisal, let me start with a video first that speak a little about your initiative. Can we play, please, Gudu video?
يا حي وسهلا بكم في ولاية الريف. معاكم جابر الجحفي.
أنا محمد الجحفي.
اللي فوق الجبال.
وين أي جبل؟
على طلة الدم.
ايش خطورات هالمسار؟
خطورتها فاعل وقد مصادفة نمور، ذئاب والحياة البرية بشكل عام.
الهمة فكرة تمام مع الناس اللي عندهم سكري والناس اللي الوزن. مع ممارسة الرياضة حبينا هذا الشيء، فحبينا ان احنا نطوره اكثر شيء ابتدينا في السحر.
لا شيء لا غاز ولا شيء قز، وهذين طبعا الاجداد اللي اول عملونا هذا الشاي وعملونا الخبز.
الناس اللي بيعزفوني ما يفهمون الاغاني اللي انا اريدها وكذا، فانا فكرت ليش ما اعزف لنفسي؟ اتعلم اعزف لنفسي واغني.
الخبر
هذا يموت عليها حبيبتي هذه، هذا اقول لها بنتي هذه ترى، ما اقول لها كمان.
في 2012 رحنا انا والوالده واخواني، رحنا الامارات، مرينا انا والوالده الشارقه، واحنا ماشيين على الشارع مرينا على محل عواد، وانا واقف قدام محل عواد ما اتحرك، فشوي كذا وتحس حسين وين؟ قلت لها ما بروح من هنا الا اشتري علم.
Thank you. Wisal, let me go direct to the question.
Okay.
How Ghudu as a community project views authenticity in your experience offerings and somehow shape you personally? Because I think that's how all started.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Good morning. It is an honor, first of all, to be on stage with a beautiful panel and a very diverse audience in very sunny Berlin, if I may say, this morning. First of all, hi, Noor, my partner, who's in the audience. For me, to answer that question, you obviously started with a video, so it shows you a little bit of what Ghudu is. Ghudu means let's go in the indigenous language that is spoken specifically in the southern region of Oman, known as Dhafar. It is a very personal journey for us. We started by visiting during COVID and discovering the southern region. Noor and I went down there initially to support female athletes and adventurers. We didn't really have the idea of starting a community project in the south. It was when we got to know the people and the diversity of that region. We travel the world. So I've traveled a lot. Noor is a mountain climber, so she's summited a lot of climbs around the world. And what we saw there, what we experienced was truly unique, even to us, Omanis who come from the north, the city, the capital. And so it started very simply by our family and friends saying, where is this? Where are you posting? Where is this? Where can we be? Where you're at? We want to meet your people. We want to go to these jungles that you're talking about that exist in the Gulf. You know, we want to be with Jabir, who lives in the west, and he lives right by the Yemen borders, a very remote area where you're just surrounded by endless trees and a tribe there that talk to you about where they grew up and where they take their camels and their cows. And it's just that simplicity that we enjoyed and loved. And this is why we started the project. It is mainly a community-based project to give back to the community. Our friends and family and then visitors really wanted to see the Dhafar the way we see it. And also, we wanted to create something that was sustainable for the people who became our friends first, and then our experience providers. So what we do is a large percentage of that income goes directly, obviously, back to them. But we also, you know, if they want to do a course or they want to train in something, we encourage them to do that, because tomorrow, if they want to start something on their own, they can. If they want to start their own project, they can. That is the whole point of Ghudu. So it's essentially authentic in itself. We don't really change anything down there. So you will see where they live, where they spend their day, how they spend their day. That is what it is to us. That is what it means to me personally. It's the people experience, but obviously the land, the terrain. Dhofar is gorgeous. It's a gorgeous place in Oman. You can visit the region essentially any time of the year, and you will have a completely different experience every time you go down there. Just that diverse. So yeah, from the guest's perspective, we've had multiple types of guests. So we don't only cater to women. It's children, families, athletes, non-athletes. It really depends on the type of guests that we have. And there's a story that I'm going to tell very shortly. The lady that you saw in the video, Khairzad, she is a nurse, a single mother, and she also started what is essentially unheard of in that region, which is a female-only walking group. And we have a very unique product with her, an experience that is exclusively for women. So we had women from the Gulf who came down to visit, and they were mainly around between the ages of 45 to 70. So it was so interesting for them to bond with the women from Taqa in Darbat, which is a very famous waterfall that you would visit when you come down to Dhofar. And that in itself was an experience, just for them to have that picnic, to sit down with them, to talk to them, to connect woman to woman. That was very important for them. So yeah, as a female, I would say, I mean, it goes without saying, it's International Women's Day this week, so it's a perfect topic for me to open up. But yeah, as a female, I'm very proud of this project and what it represents to us.
But we are also proud of that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wisal. You focus on people, which is very interesting when it comes to authenticity. And if I want to pick on that and go back to Dr. Hashel on the importance of people to authenticity in general and to destination management. And I think you work closely with the ministry on that regard. And you started, Omran Group started with Midyaf to empower Omanis within hotels. And now you are starting another project called Najm also to fill the gap of supply chain. How do you envision that to fill up or continue the story of authenticity in Oman?
See, if we have to kind of link the industry we're in, the tourism, it's a people-centric anyway. So we can have a beautiful building like this one, but if the experience that we will get is not from this, is from the people that they work there. Yeah. It's about them. The human capital is the cornerstone for this industry we're working. And as you said, we did different initiatives to ensure that we equipped and also cater for the plans that we have for the future. Yep. I know that we have different projects and development we want to do, but we will not be able to achieve all of these goals without really building the right human capital. Last year, we launched 3 important initiatives within the group. We lift, shift, and gift. It rhymes. That's why I like to say it in this manner. Yeah. The gift one is purely, as Wasal was saying, to empower the females in the sector, period. Okay. The other 2 is really to lift the competency and the capability and to shift the mindset that this sector can be a career path for them. And for that particularly, we went all the way to the high school to show them the importance, and we embedded that in the curriculum to ensure that this is a career. This is what you can do for a living if you really want to enjoy the journey with us.
Thank you, Doc. That was, I think, a very nice concluding remark. Let me open the floor for Q&A. If any questions from somebody's there, the back. Yeah, please. Yeah. Yes, please. Well, thank you for the question. I didn't expect I receive the question, but But yeah, we have, when it comes to education in Oman and higher education in particular, we ensure that culture and heritage are very clearly communicated, traditions, and we try to transfer that in a very elegant way to our students and graduates, so they uplift the market, I would say, when it comes to especially the service delivery. So that's a very short answer, but we can have a discussion after the session on that. Any other question for our panelists? Yes, please.
Assalamu alaikum. This question for Dr. Hashel and Ms. Osal. So, yes, I'm Omani, and something I realize a lot. So right now you're doing a lot of community stuff, which is great. But there's still usually a gap between corporations like Umran and the community, where right now you are empowering the community, but I think to make it truly sustainable, the community has to be your business partner, your locals, because in some sites, in some sites you have corporations taking over, right? And they build really beautiful, beautiful pieces like architecture, services, gorgeous. But then the community, when it's not involved, when they don't feel like they own something, that creates a really big gap, and the quality slowly diminishes. So how are they involving how are you involving a community like this?
What's your good name?
Mariam Al-Raisi.
No, Mariam. I'll give you a story in Musandam, the north of Oman. We went there and we said we want to do a different experience. And we decided to build the longest zip line over water. When we started, there was a village at the top of that site that we want to do. It's called Taf al-Rakham. And the community was like, why you're doing this? Why you're coming to this site? And we start really involving them to show the case why we're doing this for them. It was very difficult to do the road to the top, to the mountain. And later on, we connected them to the main city. They used to take 7 hours to reach to their village. Today, they take 15 minutes. And 16 of the employees that we have in the Adventure Center in Musandam are from that village now working with us. Later on, when we did that road, we discovered that we have a plateau that we can do a beautiful resort there. And guess what? We designed it for them. They have started a small, venture. And now they will be owning and operating that, of course, with Umran. So that's only one example how we are doing it differently now. When we did ET Sustainable City, few fishermen who was there at the site originally, as you are saying, we said for now temporary until we do the construction. We built another harbor for them. And we have signed with them that we will take everything they catch, not only the good fish, but even their waste, that we will use it in the biogas to produce energy. It's only 2 examples to show you how we really now ensure sustainability in everything we do by involving the community. And that was, if I take it as a reference to the first thing I said, the software that we do in the development, it's not only about the hardware, but the software, and that's what I meant.
Thank you, Dr. Haji. And this is, I think it's a good closure. And to add to that, working with you with Najm program is all about establishing a venture in different regions where involving community to develop the community within particular and rural area when it comes to tourism. I think we are reaching the end of our session. I would like, please join me to thank my esteemed panelists, Dr. Hashil, Mr. Haytham, Enes, and Wisal. Thank you for joining me today on this session, and thank you all for listening up. Thank you. Thank you.